at all. And that's where SENTRY came to pass. So I'll walk through a few slides here. Our mission is to empower every person to make the world a safer place. That's it. We do that by really working primarily with organizations. So those people that kind of are put in charge of helping make their organization a safer place, their community a safer place, we're trying to give them the tools to help them do that. And so we launched SENTRY. So SENTRY is a screening product at its core. We think of it as the easiest way to empower your community to self-report. Right now it's on their health, but in the future it could be really self-reporting on anything before they arrive on site. And so this involves a daily customizable survey. This may or may not involve submitting comments or a photograph or both. It always ends up creating a SENTRY pass. These passes are customizable. So what color should it be? What image is in the middle? I'll kind of walk you through a lot of that. And reporting, detailed reporting, notifications if someone answers a survey in a way that might cause you concern, where you want to look into it. The ability to revoke a pass or to override a pass. And the ability to actually scan passes. So we'll kind of walk you through that. The key thing here is for your community, this is easy. So there's really no training required for an end user, because they simply get started. They create an account with their email address, which just takes about 60 seconds or less. They then enter a join code to enter an org, usually. It's one of the onboarding techniques. And then they fill out their survey every day. And they press the organization, they fill out the customized survey, they get a summary. They look at the summary, they can submit comments, they can look at their photograph that they just submitted. Looks good, submit, it's successful, they get their SENTRY pass, it's an active pass. And then if the organization chooses, they could scan those passes. Scanning the passes obviously confirms they're valid, but it also allows you to actually check people in when they arrive on property. This has always been something that we've been looking for with PunchAlert, actually, because with PunchAlert, with emergency management, it's always important to know who's on site at that given time. And SENTRY actually allows you to do that. So, yeah, just knowing who's on site, having that ability to filter and really truly account for everyone that you know is on site can be an important part of your kind of emergency planning. So something to be aware of. Obviously, it can be useful for contact tracing right now as well. Okay, and then the web console. I'll walk you through this live as well, but really easy to set up, 4 simple steps. You can see the modules. If you're familiar with PunchAlert, you'll notice it looks very similar. Questions, users, current passes, settings. There's a bunch of advanced settings, and I'll show you some of them. The key page you'll be watching most often every day, and very mobile friendly, so it's very responsive. If you're an administrator and you just want to look at this on your phone, you can do that, or an iPad or what have you. You can see who has a current pass right now, and you can drill down on any one user to see the way they answered their questions, make sure it's a valid pass, the color of the pass, etc. And you can see the check-in board, or the status board as we call it, if you are checking people in and out every day. And then one other thing to remind people is that this is, if you don't have a smartphone, if you're releasing this to your community and you're worried about some people not having a smartphone to download the SENTRY Pass app, well, that's okay. They can actually just go to sentrypass.io and complete the survey right there. So no problem. They can actually even get the pass right on their phone, but on the website, or on their computer on the website, and then they can just print it if they want to print it, unless they actually have their computer with them, or a Chromebook or what have you, and they could just show it. But it's easily printable as well. All right, and that is the simplicity which we're really excited about with SENTRY. If you have any questions, please chime them in, and if not, I will kind of move on to a bit of a live demo. Ashley, anything you wanted to add at this point?
So, everything that everybody just saw right now in the presentation was the standalone SENTRY app. And what we are seeing is that obviously if you're a PunchAlert customer, Greg will show you, how you can access SENTRY within the PunchAlert platform. But what's really nice about this is that, especially for schools or other organizations that are bringing people on their campus that they don't want to have the full access to PunchAlert, or don't need it for that matter, they can just download the SENTRY app. And of course, everything works seamlessly in between the two platforms because they're completely interconnected. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good point. Much like the way we relaunch almost every new product, just like we launched 911 Plus. 911 Plus started out as a feature in PunchAlert, and it's still a pretty important differentiating feature in PunchAlert. We ultimately launched 911 Plus as a standalone service, and we have a bunch of customers that just use that infrastructure, that use our 911 Plus infrastructure. So we're kind of our own first customer for it. And same thing with SENTRY. So first thing we did is launch SENTRY in PunchAlert. If I leave the SENTRY Pass app and I go to the PunchAlert app, you'll notice there's my SENTRY Pass right there at the bottom. And I could fill out my survey. It's in the left nav too here. Hamburger menu, left nav. I can get my SENTRY Pass, or if I haven't done it yet, I can fill out my survey. So yeah, SENTRY Pass is a component of PunchAlert, just like our other modules are. But we noticed a lot of customers just wanted, just needed a really simple screening tool. They didn't want to have to educate their parents or their community about alerts also. They just wanted to say, hey, just get your pass every day and show it. And so that's why we broke it out. And so yeah, really, really simple experience. So, oops, are you able to see my screen, Ashley?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
You are, great. Okay,
Yep.
good. So yeah, my phone's on the right. My phone's on the right and dashboard's on the left. And you can see I have an active SENTRY Pass, and I just kind of looked at it. You can see my pass. You can see the way I submitted everything. I'm going to go ahead and revoke the pass. So, okay, I lost my pass status. And notice if I leave the page and refresh, yep, my active passes are gone. And now if I select an organization, I can start over again, go to Punch Technologies. And so it all kind of starts with the questions. You come up with the questions you want to ask, all customizable. And for each question, you'll notice you can set a designated correct answer. You can say whether it's active or not. You can also give it a rating scale. Like this is a weighted value of 3. Now, what does 3 mean? Well, it's kind of an important question to ask. Are you going to tell the truth? So this has a weighting of 3. So what does that mean? Well, let's go to question scoring under settings. You'll notice 3 falls into this high risk label. This is just labels. This is all customizable. The label, the range of numbers, and the color, and then whether or not you want to grant a pass or not. Notice for a 3 or above, you're given a risk rating of high, the color is red, and we do not grant passes. So if I answer this question wrong, I can't get a pass. So I'm going to answer it correctly, though. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to answer the rest of them correctly. Let's do it the right way first. So I answered everything. Now let's submit a comment. So you might ask your people to submit their temperature every day. You might ask them to take a photo of themselves wearing their mask or of their thermometer to prove the temperature, if you really want to have that accuracy, that data. And then notice I got my pass. Now it's a green pass. Now why is it green? Well, there's an optional setting here. It says you can have the question scoring pass color override. This means that that I want the pass color to be the rating I received. So in other words, going back to that rating scale, we are granting passes for yellow, medium risk people. So this could have been a yellow pass if I answered the questions a different way, but I answered all the questions fine. My cumulative rating was actually a 0 because I answered everything correctly. So I certainly fell in the green category. Hence I have a green pass. Now, why is this important? Well, let's say you have a question. We have a great new school customer that just signed up with us. With they've got like 80 schools. They've rolled out about 13 of them so far, and what they have is a really clever way of kind of speeding up their entry into the school. One of the questions is, have you taken your child's temperature at home? And if so, was it below a certain number? And if they answer no to that, then they can still get a pass, but it'll be yellow. And what that means is they're just going to have to take the student's temperature at school before dropping them off. Whereas if it's green, that means, you know what, no need, you did it already, walk right in. So that's how the color could be helpful. You'll also notice there's a big B in the middle. What does that B mean? Well, you go back to my optional settings, you'll notice I have something else called custom pass image user dependent. So the ABC attribute is being used to override the middle image. So if you have a school or a customer with shifts, or a school with A students and B students or C students, and you want to make sure that the right kids are coming in on a given day and nobody's confused, well, then you can have that shown on the pass. You could also have the image they submit on the pass. You could have their profile image. You could have nothing, which will usually just be the customer's logo as well, which is in the org settings. So it could just be your organizational logo. So this whole middle area is customizable, and it doesn't affect the scanning of the pass, by the way. Okay, so let's see here. What should we touch on next? Notifications. Notice if I answer the question wrong, certain people would get notified. We went over the questions. Again, you can add as many questions as you like. You can remove them, deactivate them, etc. Your user management. Here's where you'll notice, how does it know I'm a B student? Well, if you look at my account, manage details, and you see, well, first of all, I'm an admin. That's why I have access to everything you're seeing here on the left. You can manage my attributes, and you'll notice that's where I'm a B student. I'm at number 2 shift worker. Again, all in this kind of demo world. You can also create user-defined fields, etc. And that the typical way to onboard, rather than manually setting, oh, this is a group 2 person, a group 3 person, etc. You can actually do that through join codes. So you can set up a join code, you provide it to users. If I go back a page, right here, notice join code. This is where you enter join codes. You simply provide the join codes, and that'll automatically put them in the right group. Or you can create one that doesn't put them in any of them. So either way, but you can have as many join codes as you want, and that just automatically puts them in the right group. And join codes do have to be unique across our system. All right. So what else? Let's go and look at our reports. Let's look at our current passes. You'll notice, oh, I've got my current pass again, so you can see where I am, which looks good. By the way, again, so let's say I'm not an admin and I don't even have a smartphone. Well, I could have done my whole survey right from here. This is SentryPass.io, but just on the user side of things. I can view my pass at home, and I can print it if I want to. Or I can take the survey, like for these other, if I want to take this survey for this school, I could just do it from here, yeah, etc. And I won't do it because I'm not part of that school. But you can just fill out the survey right on your computer. Get your pass, print it out, show up. So really simple. Okay, the last thing I'd like to show is just if you do choose to scan passes. Let's see here. I've been kind of revoking my pass all day, so hopefully that's not a problem. Let's see. So notice I just scanned my pass, and it looks good. Sentry pass is valid, and I'm now checked in. Really easy. So you could actually just allow people to use their phones and the QR reader to check people in and out, or you could set up a station, like an iPad station, Android station, where people can kind of scan their own passes on their way in or out. And not every customer even needs to scan passes. Honestly, sometimes it's easy just to show your pass. And again, if you have PunchAlert for alerts, great, you just show your pass. So really whatever's easiest. If you want the alerting, if you want the emergency communication part of it as well, then do it in PunchAlert. If you just want a screening product, then SentryPass is the way to go. You can always go back in time, schedule reports, you know, more advanced features like enterprise. If you've got a bunch of different locations and you want to create the questions for each location, you can do that at the enterprise level. So lots of nice features there. If we go to daily reports, you can kind of go back over the last 10 days and just see by all users, by lists, etc. And it'll show the failures as well as the passes that were issued. So you can always drill down and figure out what happened that day. Going back to our home, notice there's some shortcuts up here. So if there's things you're looking at every day, like for example, the passes, you can create a shortcut to it. You click it and there you go. You got your active passes. You're looking for one person, you just do a quick search. There's Greg, load it up, good to go. So it's designed for speed, usability, yeah, that's kind of where this product's at. It's really simple. It's a quick win for you, for your organization, for your customers, what have you. Really fast rollout, affordable pricing, flexible. You can go monthly, you can go annual. We think it's going to really have legs even post-COVID, because it's going to just be a simple way of knowing who's on your property and just having people answer a couple quick questions, which for legal reasons could be really valuable for you. So I definitely think it's going to have legs long post-COVID, and we'll continue to add features over time that our customers ask for that help them better have that kind of layer of protection outside their campus. Because I think the day in which you have millions of cameras staring at people, I mean, if you do, that's great. But with so many different entrances to so many different types of buildings, this is a great way of kind of, like Ashley said in the intro, kind of crowdsourcing that ability to self-screen and come on property safely. So we're excited about it. It's really positioned for the next kind of generation of campuses and campus safety and post-COVID world. Certainly right now, it's kind of a necessity. So let's get off paper if you're on paper, and or if Google Docs or some way that's really hard to do reporting and contact tracing and so on. And so we'd love to help.
Yeah, that's a really good
That's
point.
it for me.
Yeah, I just wanted, obviously we work one-on-one with the organizations to really understand, where their pain points are. We feel like we've solved a lot of the pain points with the whole safe entry with SENTRY, but of course, there's always things that are coming up, like for example, that the B day or the second shift, that was a suggestion from some of our customers. And so we love hearing your feedback. We want to, because what can benefit you most likely will benefit the majority of people. So please, if you don't see that SENTRY does something here, please bring it to our attention. We love the feedback. And then the other thing that I was going to say that's been really exciting to talk about is just integrations, right? So, because I have a couple of customers that I'm currently working with that are interested in, I want to do the screening process before they get there, but then they actually have to badge into the facility, and then I want them to take their temperature, like before they actually, like at the security guard station, if you will. And so we're trying to work through some of those things of, okay, do they do the safe entry and then they don't get their pass yet until they get to that thermal sensor station, and then they take their temperature there and then it provides the pass. Yes, we can do that integration if that's something you want to do. Or is it they take the SENTRY self-check, they do, they put their comment of their temperature in there, they take their picture with the thermometer, and then when they get to the door, if they didn't answer any questions, correctly, obviously they'll be notified that they didn't answer the questions correctly. But if they did, then it would activate their badge to then be able to enter the facility, right? So there's some things that we can do to really tweak it for what you guys are looking for your organizations. So just some exciting conversations. So Stacy has a question. How is the data stored, and is it stored for a period of time, and who has access to the data?
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Yeah, absolutely. So all the data, it's a good question. And thanks, Ashley, some good points there. Yeah, data is all stored and encrypted in the Microsoft Azure cloud. Who has access to it? Only your administrative team really has access to it. And then, from a support point of view, we can get access to it. Our team can if we need to, if you request that we do. It's stored for, we're not deleting any data right now. So it will be stored under the same policy that we maintain PunchAlert data, which is 7 years. We don't serve it all up live. We generally move things over to cold storage after a period of time. That's usually 90 days. There is a lot of data being uploaded right now to SENTRY. As you can imagine, tens of thousands of students and on this and submitting photos every day. So we're not serving all those live. I think we're serving 10 days worth live. As opposed to PunchAlert, we usually serve 90 days live. So I think we've shortened that a little bit with SENTRY, but we can, and also in particular because 10 days kind of covers that COVID. If someone has COVID, you want to kind of go back the last 10 days to that's when the data is relevant. So. But we have it. We're not deleting it. It's just put in cold storage. We can retrieve it for you. Yeah, I think that answers that question.
Yeah, great.
But if not, okay.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely send out an email after the fact too that has that link to sentrypass.io. Feel free to go there, check it out. You can sign up if you're ready to sign up. It's a pretty simple process like Greg talked about. If you have any other questions, we'll have our contact information in that email as well. I don't know if Greg, you just want to pull up sentrypass.io so that they can see it on the screen for the people who will be watching this recording later, just so that they have a visual of that. But again, we just want to, I just appreciate your time today. And thank you very much for joining the webinar with us. One thing I love about the PunchAlert team is that, you know, during this whole COVID thing, that, you know, they really wanted to do something to help their organizations be able to reopen safely and stay open safely. And so what you're seeing today is, it has come to fruition over the last couple months, really. And so I just want to also express my gratitude for the team and how nimble they are and flexible they are and how willing they are to do their part in bringing a product to the market that is super helpful, that is taking a lot of, you know, I guess the pain points out of people's days. So I appreciate that, because I see it all the time. Paper, they're filling out the paper and they're handing in the paper, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you could do this so much more simply. So thank you, you know, to the PunchAlert team, and thanks, Greg, for leading them in the right direction. So, yep, there's the website, sentrypass.io. You can scroll through there. It has more information towards the bottom, but if you're ready to sign up, you can do so very, very simply by signing up right there. So I appreciate your guys' time today. Thank you so much.
Great. Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Ashley.
Yep.
And we'll be in touch. Have a good day.
Yep, that sounds good. Thanks.